I'm getting fucked super hard. There we go. Oh, I think 80. Oh my god. And then I get him in 20 or 30. Ooh, there we go. There he goes again. Come on. There we go.
It's Gene.
Probably. Razor. Who do we got? Who do we got? There we go. Another constellation. Let's fucking... 2! Holy shit!
How'd you get 2?
Holy
What's the chances
shit!
of that?
Holy shit! God has descended. What up, everybody? It's your boy C, and today we have a very special character that we're reviewing. Our boy XIAO. Now, this guy has been and still is the most hyped up character in the history of this game. And MiHoYo, I gotta give it to him. They've done their thing, because he has lived up to the hype, at least to my standards. He's actually surpassed it for me. In terms of design, he's the coolest looking character in the game, bar none. The mask, I like the asymmetrical style of his clothing, how he only has this cloth on one arm, how both of his gloves are separate, have separate garments underneath them. The tattoo, everything about him looks fucking insane. So, just bang up job on the character. He looks incredible. So, hey, they did their thing with that. So, how is he on the actual character end? In my opinion, I'm going to just spoil this now. He's double S tier. If I was ranking characters S to double S to S to F, he'd be double S. Cause he just does everything right. When I'm looking at a damage dealer, I'm looking at how much damage they can do out the box, and how hard is it to get to them doing those high amounts of damage. Because we can look at characters like Clay, who she does a shit ton of damage, but it's in very small windows and it's under certain conditions that you have to meet in order to do it. She's still an incredible DPS. She's still a very solid S tier character because of just the sheer amount of mayhem that she can cause. And honestly, I think she might. I mean, I don't know if anyone's out damaging XIAO right now. Besides maybe Mona with like her one shot or her ult, and like Bennett coming in and hitting and like causing like a 2 million damage one shot. Like, in terms of actual sustainable damage that you can do to like pretty much any character in the game, no one's touching XIAO. The only character that's immune to Anemo in the game, or the only two enemies, sorry, is the Anemo slimes and those floating eye bosses. Now, for me, that's a huge plus, because I don't like switching characters. I'm certainly not gonna run a sub DPS. Like, I don't do those types of team comps because I feel they're not that great. I feel it's better to just run a single DPS and augment that DPS as much as possible. Because is it harder to run that type of comp? Yes, because if your main DPS dies, you lose. Whereas if you have a sub DPS, then you still have a character you can finish the dungeon with. But like, I mean, unless you're new to the game, you should be fine with running just one DPS. Like, you don't need two. You don't need multi. Like, you just run a single DPS, augment the fuck out of them, and just roll whatever boss or enemy it is. Like, and if you're having trouble dying, just learn how to dodge. Like, I know it sounds really shitty to say, but like, if you learn the enemy's attack patterns, you learn the boss's attack patterns, you can dash out of stuff, you can get your invincibility frames, you can do what you need to do to beat the bosses. It does take time, it does take patience, it does take effort, but everyone can do it. Like, you just have to put that work in. But getting back on topic, XIAO, incredible. His damage is absolutely unbelievable. I've been blown away. I thought Ganyu was gonna be the new premier double S character, like she was gonna be untouchable. My hopes for XIAO was that he was at least functional, because they did change a lot about him in terms of how he accesses his damage and how he makes his damage better. So I felt Ganyu was probably going to be our premier DPS until maybe Ayaka or Hu Tao comes out. Then maybe they could challenge her. But I was wrong. XIAO is... he's one of those characters where if you nerf him too much, then he'll be genuinely useless. But if you buff him too much, he'll just be broken. And I feel like maybe MiHoYo felt like they got him to a happy medium, and that he's where he should be, but he still out damages a lot of people very, very easily. So what we have, what are we looking at? What is this kit? Now, this ability is called lymphatic wind cycling. I don't know how to say it, so I just call it LWC. What it is it is a dash. You dash forward, it hits enemies. It's a great tool to help you escape from getting hit. You can use it mid-air, so it's a great movement tool, but it does a lot of damage. It also links very well with his constellations, and this just serves to make him an overall better character because of the fact that he's able to really get a lot out of his constellations, as well as his own passive talent pool. If we go to that right now, let me get to there. We look at his talents. My talents are this way for a reason that I'll get to in just a second. But if we look at this passive right here, every time you use it, you get a 15% damage bonus on your next one. And this has 3 stacks. 3 stacks. So on your third one, you are looking at 45% damage bonus. And that's also going to be augmented by this talent, where when you're in his ult, Bane of All Evil, you're going to be getting 5% boost every 3 seconds. So towards the tail end of his ult, I'd say maybe 10 seconds in, or 12 to 13 seconds in, you're going to be hitting like a truck with his LWC. And at first, I thought his constellations were going to be bad, so I wasn't even going to go for them. So I was like, you know what? I have 350 wishes saved up. I'm going to do a little challenge. I'm going to see how many constellations can I get with just 350 wishes. If you want to know the ideal amount of wishes that you need to fully 6-con a character with like, you know you're going to get the 6-con. The sweet spot is between 600 wishes and 700 wishes. I know that is a lot. That is $1,200 in American currency. So that is a lot. So I was expecting at 350 that I'd be getting a lot less. Like, I was thinking maybe 2 or 3 constellations. I got 5. I got 5, and something that I've never had happen to me before is getting 2 pulls of him and 1 10 pull. I've never had that happen on any 5-star characters. I've seen it on forums, and I've never personally had it happen, and I'm glad it happened for XIAO, because he's legit just my favorite character in the game right now, period, bar none. So I thought his constellations were going to be bad, but turns out as I've used them, they're a lot better than I thought they were. There are still some shitty constellations, I believe his Constellation 2 is really bad, only because if you're running him as a premier DPS, which you should be because he really can't do very well as a secondary DPS or a support, because once you use his ult and you switch off of him, his ult's gone. Like, it ends it, you can't use it again until it's off cooldown and until you have the energy for it. So you don't really get too much out of this Constellation, sorry. This one is really important because you're going to be using his LWC a lot. And it helps you, it works really, really well with that talent that I showed, as it allows you to get to max stacks of it very quickly and to retain them pretty well. You just have to get the timing down because you do have a 7-second window before that stack expires. Moving forward, these two are the most important because XIAO gets a lot out of all the percents you inject into his kit. So these two constellations were as important, if not a little bit less important than LWC, getting another stack of LWC, but these are almost direct buffs to his damage due to how much damage he gets from percents. This one, it was these two, sorry. This one, I don't know, I have 700 defense, so I'm kind of undecided because I try not to get hit, because usually with my damage dealers, if I get hit, I'm most likely gonna die. So I try not to get hit, so falling below 50% HP isn't ideal. XIAO can have that happen if you use his ult enough times in the middle of a really sustained fight, or if you walk into a fight already low on HP and you just lower it even more, you can still get this. But I don't know how to rate this. I don't personally know if it would be useful. I haven't had any situations where I've been like, oh man, like I was at 50% HP or 49% HP and then I got hit by like an attack that should have killed me and I just tanked it. Like, I haven't had that happen yet. It could be useful. I don't want to say it's not useful. I don't know. Now this one I do appreciate more now that I've used XIAO, because at first I thought it was going to be counterintuitive to his kit. At first I was thinking, because the plunge damage, the way his ult works is when you raise the levels of his Bane of Existence, it raises his plunge damage. When you raise his normal attack talent up levels, it raises his plunge damage. So I was like, okay, well, if they're stacking all this damage raising on plunge damage, then how many times am I actually going to use LWC while I'm in my ult? And it turns out a lot, because that talent that I showed earlier, when you're in Bane of All Evil, you are also getting a damage bonus flat. So that's going to stack on top of the LWC damage boost stacking, and you're actually going to be, if you're using this and you're hitting the enemies, you plunge into the enemies, you use your LWC once or twice, you jump up, you plunge into them again, you're going to be shredding enemies, shredding them, and your LWC is going to hit much harder than it would ordinarily while you're inside of your Bane of All Evil. So it's very useful, because I was thinking, well, I'm just going to jump and plunge. I still do it now out of habit, because I was thinking that was just going to be the highest amount of DPS you could get out of him. But as it turns out, I end up mixing in some LWCs and you shit on enemies. In terms of access to his damage, like I said, I value that very highly, because I don't care if a character can do millions of damage unless they're able to get to those millions of damage. And Gan Yu, the reason why I rate her so highly is because she can get to like something like 160, 170% crit damage, and you don't have to worry about crit rate because it's so easy to get crit rate with ice characters. Because all she has to do is shoot one fully charged arrow, and then she's already online. With XIAO, they decided to kind of nerf him but buff him at the same time, because they nerfed him by making it so that when he ascends they took away his bonus animal that he used to get from ascending. Then they decided to change it to crit rate, which is fucking insane in terms of usability for characters, because now XIAO is way easier to build, because there's not too much you can build on XIAO as of right now. You can either go 2 pieces of Viridescent Veneer for the bonus animal and 2 pieces of either Gladiator or Sojourner, whatever you need to get that bonus attack, that 18% attack. You can go 2 pieces of either of those, or if you're already far along, you're just gonna be going with the full Gladiator set. Now, I didn't have a particularly great Gladiator set at first, but as I continued playing, I used Jean a lot, so I needed a good Gladiator set to run Jean, and I was playing her, and I ended up getting a pretty decent Gladiator set. So it's already leveled up. I have crit damage, because not everyone's gonna have this. I'm gonna say that now. Not everyone's gonna have this. I got this very early on, and it is one of my favorite weapons in the game, bar none, because it gives you crit rate. It's a 5-star, so it gives you an insane amount of high base attack. The passive, just hitting enemies, gives you damage, and then once you're at max damage, you get more damage. So it is the perfect weapon for him, as he's gonna be hitting a lot and often. So he's gonna reach that 7-stack limit very quickly, and then you're gonna get another 12% damage bonus at that max, and it's just damage. So it's not only on your regular, it's not on just attack stat, it's not on your normal attacks, it's just damage, period. So not everyone's gonna have this, but even if you don't, you can get this from the battle pass. Let's say you're a free-to-play player, but you recognize that the battle pass is just great value, because as a free-to-play player, the black sword is probably the best weapon in the game for you. And even if you're not free to play, guess what? That's still one of the best weapons in the game. So let's say you were like, okay, I'm planning on getting battle passes, but I just pulled XIAO. I said, fuck it, YOLO, pulled XIAO. What do I do for weapons for him? Oh, the deathmatch is actually really fucking good. In my opinion, it's a pretty underrated weapon, only because the weapons that it stands beside in the battle pass vastly are superior to it. Like, you're not gonna get deathmatch over Black Sword. Like, I already have Black Sword, and I think I have like only 1 copy of it, only because I have both of the 5-star swords. So I don't really need Black Sword all that much. But and that's giving me the ability to pretty much get every battle pass weapon. I have the bow, I have this, I have the sword, and I think I have the claymore. So if you're free to play player and you get the battle pass, here you go. Let's say you're not free, you're completely free to play, you don't give a fuck about that. You have the Crescent Pike. Crescent Pike is insane. It's still really good, even after they've nerfed it. Also on XIAO, it's also going to have a lot of value due to how easily it is for him to get his elemental particles. So you're still going to get this 30% attack bonus, and it's 30% because I have a refinement rank 3. Let's say you're unlucky and didn't get the Pike blueprints. Well, then guess what? You can get the Dragon Spawn Spear. This is still really good. You have a pretty decent chance of getting a fucking little icicle. It's gonna drop and hit the enemies. You have a pretty decent chance of getting that. So you have a pretty good amount of free-to-play items that still work really well. Like this one, you don't have to buy anything. All you do is play through the new area that they introduced into the game and you get it. So you're pretty much guaranteed to get this. So even as a completely free-to-play player, let's say once again you had like 10 pulls saved up and you just said fuck it, YOLO, 10 pulled them. here you go. You can use this. You can still do a lot of damage. You can still be very useful because XIAO isn't tied to his weapon. The weapon is icing on the cake, and this is a very good icing, but there's a lot of different options for you to run with. So going back to the artifacts now, once again, he doesn't have too many options for artifacts. I already had a pretty good artifact, pretty good luck with the gladiator set over time as I'm adventure rank 49, so I've had a lot of time to get to fight bosses and get a pretty decent set. I'm running crit damage because if we look at his stats, 150% crit damage, 55% crit rate. I don't need any more crit rate because I'm getting crit rate from the spear. I'm getting crit rate from XIAO simply existing. Like, as you see, this would go up. Obviously, it's taking into account his current crit rate that's based off of how much you have in your kit already. But I think if I were to remove, let me see, let's do this, and artifacts, let's just remove all the artifacts real quick, and look at his crit rate and see how much he's getting right now. So yeah, I'm at 14% crit rate on just Ascension. I'm about to fuck those guys up in a minute, but looking at, I'm going to get to 19% crit rate just from ascending. Just from ascending. He's going to be at 19% crit rate. So when they did that, that was a massive buff to his damage. From the flower, this is my stats, crit damage. Like I said, because he's so easy to build around, since he has innate crit rate, you don't have to go very hard to get crit rate into your kit. So I would suggest just focusing crit damage. Make sure you have enough crit rate to get to 50, but just focus on crit damage and focus on getting those gladiator pieces. And the secondary most important stat, I run this feather because this is probably the best artifact that I have, period, point blank, because of just the insane stat totals that I got on it. So I run that. I run this Sands of Eon because it's all that I've got. I didn't get two good rolls on my, I only have two because all the other ones that I've had have been HP percent, so I've just broken them for the artifact EXP. The goblet, this is the most important one. He needs this animo damage bonus because once he ults, all of his attacks become animo, and this animo damage bonus is very important, especially considering they removed the animo from his ascension to sort of balance them out a little bit. So you definitely need an animo damage bonus goblet, like, period. If you have one that's on another set, use it. Just use it. I know it might suck that you might not reach maximum or the 4-piece, but you need that animo damage bonus. So just look out for that. Helmet, I'm running the crit damage helmet. I got really lucky on these two helmets as they're insane, and the fact that they're gladiator set helmets is really, really good. So this is the set that I'm running on him. Constellations, I'm at 5. I'm definitely going to shoot for 6. And talents, pretty high up. His kit, like I said, A1. He hits like a fucking truck. Like I said, you just dash around, you pop ult, and you are going to, look at that, 13k, 17k. You have the insane part about his ult, how he looks. His attacks look way cooler because you've got the after effect, you've got the gleam on it, it turns the sky black. You've got the spears that come out of the ground when you plunge. You can hit multiple enemies with your plunge. Like, they did him right. They did him really, really, really well. So as a damage dealer, I'd give him an SS plus. I'd say he's the best character in the game. Just to peek at my order for characters, here is how I would rank the 5-star characters. Right here, I would rank them like this. In terms of damage dealers, not even just damage dealers, in terms of 5 stars, this is the rankings that I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The only reason why I have Clay above Diluc is because as a fire damage dealer, she just out damages him. He does more damage over the course of the fight, but Clay can very well end fights before Diluc can truly shine. Chilled, he is ridiculous. Ganyu, second best character in the game right now due to how easy it is to give damage, and XIAO is just solidly number 1. But that's been the showcase for XIAO. As you see, I believe I'm at that 50% HP threshold, so I'm getting a defense boost right now. But he is an absolutely insane character. They did him very well because of his mobility, his looks, the way his kit functions, the way his constellations complement his kit. He's just insane. So that's just my take on XIAO. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Call me a bitch. Do whatever you gotta do. It's been your boy. Peace.